Hey everyone, I might be a little bit late into the game with this one, but a lot of people on social media have been talking about this show, and I thought I'd check it out myself. Reason this review is up so late, almost a month after the show came onto Netflix, is because I've only just really watched it. It only just really piques my interest, because I had no idea what it was about, and going into the show, I sort of knew the themes of it, but I didn't know what to expect, and I've got to say, I really like the show. It's not the sort of thing I'd usually be into. I mean, I love Netflix shows. I mean, Daredevil, all the Marvel shows. I really love Orange is the New Black. I think that's really good. And with this one, I sort of didn't know anything about it prior, and all I knew was that people were really sort of obsessing over this thing. And I was like, okay, let's give it a go. And the show is pretty heavy. So the plot, if you don't know, and I'll get into some spoilers in this video eventually, so just be warned, there will be spoilers at some point. So yeah, this show is about a girl called Hannah Baker, who is a high school student, and through a series of events, she ends up committing suicide, which already is quite a ballsy move for a show to go in. And throughout the show, she gives tapes to the main character, who is a boy called Clay, who is played by the guy from Goosebumps, and he's actually really, really good in this show. I can't remember his name, but he is really good, and I just know him from Goosebumps. So anyway, she gives him these tapes, like 13 reasons why she killed herself, and we go through each episode, and it's a proper like mystery sort of show. It's like watching like a murder mystery, except it's not a murder, it's a suicide, which I guess, depending on what way you look at it, you could class it as that. But anyway, it's quite an intriguing look into this girl's life. It doesn't celebrate her death. It doesn't celebrate her life, but it tells us about her life and what sort of person she is, and you find out different things, and you think, could she be lying about this certain thing? And that sort of stuff. It's never really cleared up. And towards the end of the episode, the biggest gripe I have with this show is that when the show ends after the 13th episode, a lot is left unanswered, and I don't see there being a season 2. This is based on a book, which there wasn't a sequel to the book, and I know that means that they can still do a sequel to a TV show, a second season, because you don't have to 100% follow the books. Most shows and movies don't tend to do that, like 100%. I know the death's completely different in this show than in the book. So yeah, I felt there won't be a season 2, and there's so much left unanswered, and there's so much that you want to be answered by the end of it. So that's my biggest gripe with this show, and a lot of people have been complaining about it because, if you don't know already, I guess spoilers, but it does show the suicide in graphic detail, and it deals with things such as sexual assault and rape, and it can be very hard to watch. And I would say if you're you're not like, I don't know what to say. If I was going to say squeamish, but I guess that could be the right word. But if you're not prepared for what this show's going to give to you, is what I'll say, is that you're probably going to be shocked, and it's probably going to affect you worse than others. So that's the biggest thing that I should say as a warning to the show. But there are episodes that give you warnings before them, and that's when you know you're going to be watching the more graphic episodes. There was a lot in the show that I had to sort of turn away and think, do I want to continue? And it's like, the show is grim and it's dark and it's upsetting, but it always has this sort of consistent tone of a high school drama. So it feels like you're watching Edge of 17, but with a darker twist, a much darker twist. And I thought it was really well done, and I thought just the acting all around was absolutely phenomenal. Everyone was really, really good. But yeah, there are things that you can take from the show that could be considered, the controversy can be considered like to be valid, because like, for example, as I said, the suicide is shown and it's graphic, and if you don't know what it is, basically Hannah Baker's in a bathtub and she slits her wrists, and it shows you in detail what she does, how she does it, and that's where the sort of trigger warnings come and where the controversy is coming from, and it makes sense. But at the same time, there are people that say that this show glorifies suicide, and I do not agree with that in any sense of the word. This show does not glorify suicide. It's sort of the message of the show can be taken in a few different ways, but I think the way it was intended to be taken, the way I took it, does not glorify suicide, But I guess if you look at it from someone else's eyes, you could maybe say it does sometimes. I don't know. I personally don't think it does, but that's what the controversy of the show has been amounting to. But yeah, overall, I can see why a lot of people are talking about the show and why people really like this show, because I thought this show was phenomenally well done. It really does raise awareness, and you can tell because there are reports of people watching the show and actually seeking help for their suicide, for their suicidal thoughts. So this show, I would say, is really good in what it does, and I feel like it's really good at getting its message across. So yeah, I really like the show. I watched it in a couple of days, and yeah, by the end of it, I felt sad and I felt a bit broken from seeing this whole story. But it's still a very, very good show, and I do recommend that people see it. It's a show that everyone should see because the themes in it and everything in it are things that would be considered a taboo subject for something, but I think that this show did it very, very well. So that's my thoughts on 13 Reasons Why. But the ending, I want to talk about the ending quickly. So major spoilers for the ending of this show if you haven't seen it. But there's a character called Alex in this show, and you get to meet a lot of characters in this show. You've got like the typical jock douchebag who does something that I don't want to go into details for. There's like his friend who acts like a jock douchebag but's actually quite scared and quite timid. There's the popular girl who's struggling with her sexuality. So you've got all these different people. Then there's this character, Alex, who he's sort of the new kid, the quiet kid, but he evolves throughout the series. And in the end of the show, it's reported that he shoots himself. And we don't know whether he's dead or not. But I didn't understand his intentions really, or his motivation to do it, if you can call it motivation. Because yeah, this whole story amounted to these people getting the blame for Hannah Baker's death, but he wasn't really the biggest player in it. And I just felt that really did go unanswered. So if anyone has any answers for that, I would like to know, because that's the thing that sort of made me think, you know, where are we going with this? But overall, yeah, like I said, I like this show a lot, and I feel like people should watch it if you haven't already. So let me know what you guys thought of 13 Reasons Why. Comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.